being a foreigner in Australia, looking different to everyone. I grew up in Balmain and it's very Australian.
Yes.
And so I was the only foreigner in the entire school. I was from China. I've never seen like a Western person in my life.
From hiding a failed startup from her parents to building a global fashion empire, Jane Liu is the definition of resilience. As the founder of Showpo, she's changed the e-commerce game, but what's life really like behind the success? Welcome to
Jane Liu.
Jane
Welcome
Liu.
to
Dun-dun-dun.
No Business Being a Castano. So I purposely wore Showpo today
You look
because
fabulous.
I was like, I want to see if she
knows.
knows
Yeah,
her
we
business
actually talked
ins
about this.
and outs. And you straight
You-
away,
you
you were
straight
like,
away-
oh my God, you look
Which I-
amazing.
And you were like, why? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, what if it's not Showpo and I made it awkward?
No, I love it.
Which says obviously a lot about your character and, you know, how
Yeah.
much invested you're into the brand. And I think that's a big thing, you know what I mean?
Got to be across the details.
I
well,
love
you try
that.
to. You can't be
And
across everything.
you can see that through obviously social media, how much you are in the brand, you know
yeah,
what
you
I
live
mean?
and breathe it, which is amazing.
I love it.
I want to talk about imposter syndrome. Like, is that something that you have you ever felt that,
Yeah,
Jane?
huge. Still,
Yeah.
I still get it. You know, I think even going to the US. I
looked
just came back
amazing,
from LA. Oh, thank you.
By the way.
But sometimes you're like I'm talking to influencers and like,
Yeah.
and like, why am I like, you know, you just naturally default to, your brain can just naturally default to having imposter syndrome or like doing Shark Tank, being like, oh my God, really me? Like, especially the first year, being like, oh my God, like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And just spending those first few days trying to think of something smart to say to justify your presence there. And then not really, you know, not really being in the moment, being comfortable. And you have to just train your brain to like snap out of it.
Yeah.
I find that so interesting, like though, obviously, because I feel like the influencers should be like the ones that
Yeah.
are scared to be with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I don't know. For me personally, if like, you know, stepping into like going on a trip to America with the owner and founder,
Exactly,
obviously, of
of this
Showpo,
incredible
like for me,
business. Like I would be like,
yeah.
you'd think they would probably be feeling the same. So not just you are feeling like that, but they're obviously feeling like that too. I feel like everyone
kind of
feels that way in some sort of capacity, right?
I saw this amazing thing. Her name is, it's Jennifer, what's her name? She's the White Lotus.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Coolidge.
Oh my God, I love her.
And she was on a TED or TEDx talk,
Yeah.
and she goes, and she was asked about imposter syndrome. She said something much better than what I've just said, so I'm going to tell you what she said.
Right.
But basically, she's like, you know, I went and saw this.
We'll get the clip up of
Yeah.
of what she said, yeah. But like, keep going with it.
But she's like, you know, I had imposter syndrome, and I saw this this play, and this guy was so bad, and I was like, if he's that bad, he's doing it, then I can do it too. And I'm like, that's a great
That's a
approach. Being
good-
like,
yeah.
It
look at
is,
someone.
yeah.
There's so many people probably worse than you,
Yeah.
trying to do what you're trying to do. So just
Yeah.
and
Keep
they're
up with it.
doing it,
But
and
it's
they've got the
also
confidence.
the confidence and belief in themselves, which probably gets them through, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's like half the job.
Yeah.
You have the talent, but do you have the mindset to get you through
Exactly.
that? Yeah.
It's that mindset to like keep going and just like not scare yourself out like of the experience. And whenever you do get imposter syndrome, it's when you're doing something cool, something new, something bigger. So just tell yourself like that it's a good sign. Associate it with taking yourself out of your comfort zone and just like doing something epic.
Yeah, because that's what we like to do. We like to walk towards the uncomfortable on this podcast. It's not just about business, but it's also about, you know, uncovering like what has come from the bad that has turned into good. So if we go back to your earlier days, what's the most, I guess, memorable and something that's from your childhood that still influences you today?
Ooh, my childhood.
Yeah. Do you remember much of it?
Yeah. I think I probably honestly, I probably have I remember good things. So I don't want to default to a negative thing, but I'm like just trying to think what could be like, what has kind of shaped how I do some things. I think I probably growing up, being a foreigner in Australia, looking different to everyone. I grew up in Balmain and it's very Australian.
Yes.
And so I was the only foreigner in the entire school. I think it was an ESL class of just me.
I did that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jono did
I
that
did
as well.
that.
But I've seen
I
other
did it.
schools where there's like my friend, she showed me her class from Burwood High, and she's like, this is one class, this is the other class. There's 2 full classes of ESL.
Wow.
I'm by myself.
So you were in a classroom by yourself?
I think there was one girl who she was like some kind of, she looked white to me, and she she left quite soon.
Right,
you know, so
okay.
pretty much
It was
at the
just
start
you.
I had a buddy, but then she like she got out of it. Anyway.
Yeah.
She's like Italian probably. Anyway, so like Yugoslavian, you know,
Yeah,
like
Yugoslav.
I couldn't, I'm
Croatian.
Like,
Let's
I'm
just
like,
throw
why
it.
can't you speak English?
Yeah,
I
I
never.
get you.
I was from China. I've never seen like a Western person in my life, and I'm like, and I was like, why don't you speak anyway? This is not the story. But having it like, you know, if someone looks at me a certain way, or like I don't get the opportunity, or whatever happens, I kind of think like, oh, it must be because I'm Asian, it's because I'm a girl, it's because I'm poor, it's because I'm young. Having all these reasons, just kind of maybe naturally being on the defense, and like, I don't know, just having a chip on my shoulder a little bit. And then it wasn't until Australia is a lot more open and progressive now. I've got more confidence. I've actually become like, you know, more successful. I'm like,
Yeah. You have though. Take
You
it.
have to own it. You got to own it.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, actually, some people are just like rude, and like they've got they've got problems, like they've had a bad day.
Yeah.
Or maybe some people when I just don't gel, like they think I'm a dick, whatever.
Yeah.
No. But like it's taken me this growth journey to kind of like get over that and to realize that like, you know, it's not really necessarily always about you, and not to let the chip on your shoulder weigh you down. Whereas I think maybe it probably made me want to fight against it. But I do see other people where it does keep them like kind of like traps them in.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you ever get bullied?
No, at least I didn't. Not really, not too
Okay.
much. People were quite like, quite open. So I think bullying would have been like.
Yeah.
Hard, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite, for sure.
Jono got bullied.
I definitely got bullied for sure. You know, I grew
Really?
up in Canning Heights, Fairfield. So, you know, there was a lot of ESOL. My class wasn't only one.
Yeah.
There was a lot of us. But yeah, definitely growing up, I was bullied, and obviously not knowing English. English is my second language. It was quite difficult for me, you know what I mean? I think those traumas obviously definitely still continue to you know, affect my life, and I feel like I follow that imposter syndrome too. You know what I mean? I'm very similar to that. I feel like I'm not grateful for everything I've achieved, and
is it gratefulness, or is it just that you don't believe
I don't
where
believe,
you are?
Yeah, I
at?
don't believe where I am, and I don't believe I deserve it at times. But yeah, it's
Well, I think one of the worst things. Oh my god, I like probably shouldn't open up this much. I don't
it's all
really.
of it.
my
It's
God,
all,
please do.
I love being open, and you know.
I used to like when people would, you know, like even in public settings, and this is like, I feel like it's very classist of me to have done it. If someone argues, I would be like, I feel like I have to defend myself. I have to defend like my people. You know, I have to stand up for ourselves because I know we're like not from, you know, like I feel like it makes me just automatically want to like rebut and like win the argument. And now I'm like, no, like it's taking me like maturity to like bite my tongue, and I still sometimes like, I wish I said this, but like, you know, like,
Yeah, but like pick and choose your battles, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like if you jump into every fight, that's energy that's being used and time that's being used on
ruins your day.
stuff that's like not even a factor in your life.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes it is like, okay, I'm going to stand up for this, or I'm going to let that slide because I don't really, like, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
You know? But with that said, I guess if you could see like your younger self, like, you know, those reels that have been going around, I had coffee with my younger self. What would I tell that girl? And what was she like compared to what you are now?
I would say don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about the people like, you know, like because time moves on, people move on. If you make these decisions based on the people around you at that time, you know, when you're older, these people are in your lives, you're not making the right decision for yourself. And also, you know, when you're older, you realize that people tell you don't do, like if they, you know, in high school, it's like very hard previously speaking about primary school, now this is high school, it's very, very hard to like change and progress because everyone, you know,
kind of everyone has that kind of, in high school everyone's got.
you have to be the same a
That's
little
right,
bit.
yeah.
Well,
you
also,
know,
you've got
we haven't-
6 years with these people.
Yeah.
So you're like, I just want
Similar
to fit
ideas
in.
and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you-
and it's almost like when you go to uni, when you go on schoolies, I feel like that's where I step change and got to like reinvent myself.
Yeah.
I went to exchange. Yeah.
Did ya? Nice. Where in school did you go to?
I went to Byron.
Oh, yeah.
I also went to
Okay.
Noosa. Noosa was
So
really
you did the
quite
double.
boring.
The double.
Yeah. Well, Noosa was like a bit lame. So I had to go to Byron.
Fair
But
enough.
no, I was going to say, oh my God.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're talking about the girl, obviously the younger self having a
Yeah,
coffee. And what would she tell yourself now?
Yeah. And then so I went to my high school
Reunion?
and actually it wasn't a high school reunion. It was someone's wedding that was like a high school reunion. And then I don't mean to say this offensively about some of the people that I just realized at the time I didn't feel, it was a large group of people and that kind of faction of this group I wasn't that close to. And I never felt like, I was like, oh, and they're probably like cooler than me. So they were like, oh my God, the cookies don't like me, blah, 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 what's wrong with me? And then now I've re-seen them like, they're not that cool, and they're just really different to me, right? And then I never had like, I have a lot of, I'm really, have a lot of male friends. I like male energy.
So do I.
And then, but in primary
Way
school,
too many.
I went to a girls' school, like Sydney girls just around here, never had, didn't really get along with the guy, like didn't really have any guy friends. And then I'm like, oh, it's because I'm fat, it's because I'm ugly, because I'm a dog, blah, blah, blah. And then I met some, and seen some of the guys, like, they're really quite quiet. They're just like not like, I feel like my energy now would scare them. And if I met someone now where like they're quiet and I have this energy, I'm not going to be like, oh, it must be me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, we're different type of people. We're different
Was
people.
your energy always like this? Like growing up?
I think so.
Yeah.
Really?
But bottled up and like hidden. Like I was more shy. And I
Okay.
think this is me. I have to warm up and feel really comfortable. Have like a go-to buddy to bring that out of me out of my shell.
Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of like, not guarded, but like you sort of sit there and see if the situation is comfortable for you. Yeah, I'm kind of the same, I think. It takes me a while to warm up to someone. But you're just like, he's a social butterfly.
Yeah.
So he's like the
that's-
networker of us.
Yeah, for sure. We've got different skills. And
Yeah, definitely.
Jane, did you always know that you're going to be successful, or you always felt like an underdog in everything you did?
I definitely never thought I was going to be successful. Like I actually.
Why is that, but?
Oh, like honestly, my parents didn't even like, like Asian culture is very like study, get the best marks. Like I had friends whose parents would go through all their exams, go through each answer. Like their parents actually speak better English than my parents because they had to learn it for their kids. Whereas my parents are like, they call me like a free range Asian because they just kind of like, they kind of set you like a wide boundary box and then but then you can play within, you're kind of free within it. So they were never like, you need to be the best of the best. They would just like, just be above average. That was literally like verbatim kind of what they told me to do. And I literally never realized I was more than just above average until like I got like 99 plus in high school.
Wow.
And I didn't expect it.
Wow.
And I was like and so that gave me some that probably was the first real boost of confidence that I'm like, oh, I'm smarter than better than I thought I would be.
What did your parents say when you got those marks?
Well, I forgot my 4-digit code that you meant to use to check. So my mum was like, I'll just try different combinations. I was like, I'll call them tomorrow. So I was like trying to delay it. And she found it. She's like, no, I think it's wrong. I'm like, well, don't tell them. And then we got the individual marks, like, oh yeah. Like, but yeah, so she didn't believe me. She didn't believe it when she actually saw it.
I mean, actually intrigued. What do they think about you now? Like, obviously with all you've got a family, you're successful, you're so inspiring.
Thank you.
Do they watch your Instagram?
No, I asked, oh my God. The other day, I'm like, Mom, did you see this? Because I'll post like our son or I post this. She's like, no, I'm very busy. I'm like, you're retired. You do nothing. What do you mean? She's like, oh, I had to go grocery shopping. But so basically for the first year, she was definitely proud. But the first few years, I was working really hard. And then there's been times I've just like slept at work because I couldn't be bothered. I'm like, oh, because you're working so late and you're like, I'm going to get up in the morning. I just don't like getting up early in the morning more than anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll just sleep here. And she's like, really like, oh my God, you're working too hard. You're working too hard. And then she was like, oh my God, why aren't you married yet? And then why don't you have kids? You're not getting any younger. So it's definitely, it's like nagging.
Yeah.
And now that I've got kids, she's kind of nagging, has stopped. But then she's like, oh, you should, now she's like telling me like parenting advice. I'm like, So
there's always something,
she's
right?
very,
I guess, like, there's so many people that talk about what we're good at. I always like to kind of work out, what's a toxic trait that you feel you have, Jen?
wait, what's yours?
What's a toxic trait? I feel like I'm too hard on people. That I feel like everyone should work at my speed and the way that I expect things to be done in less than 10 minutes. And I feel like for me that's a toxic trait because some people will do it, but then some people won't.
I don't need closure. Like I'm happy to just cut off things and be like, I'm done with it.
That's good.
No, I don't think that's toxic.
I feel like
because
sometimes you need to give it a chance.
give it a chance and not just like
It's like
close
with a
off from
partner,
it.
if you gave me lots of chance.
No, I didn't.
Oh, savage. But something like, if something,
I definitely have a bit of that. I yo-yo between having these high expectations, and then sometimes I'll kind of like be too chilled and be like get almost not walked over, but like I'll be too chilled. I feel like when I'm trying to not be that, I yo-yo too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the extremes kind of, like one extreme to another.
I get road rage.
Yeah, that's a
Really?
toxic trait. There you go.
Jono does too.
I know, I'm like,
Yeah.
What's the worst scenario you've been in the car? Like, have you
ever gotten out of the car?
Have you ever? Yes.
I
Have you
got
ever
out of the car once pregnant.
Okay.
To be like
Hormones were
Wow.
going. The hormones were going.
What are you doing?
So the hormones was that,
I don't think they were not expecting to go pregnant. Like very pregnant chicks to come.
Gee, I would give up. I would
They're
like
like, it's
stand
okay.
down. I would
You
But
stand
be
down.
no. I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know.
I think you need a sticker.
I was like, because it was a green light to turn, and I think it was on his phone. So I just tapped my thing to be like, go. And then he started being like, honking back. I'm like, dude, like, well, what?
What are you doing?
It's polite.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
also for traffic. Anyway. I'm like, okay.
That's a good one. I like that one. I like that one.
But this in a work environment, Gemma, what's my toxic trait? No, don't answer that. We're good.
No, Gemma, I'd like to hear it.
Yes, I would like. Yeah.
No.
That's
that's
a
a
good
good
employee.
answer.
Stays like 24 hours together in Coachella. Let's not.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
you're going to Coachella.
Yes, we're going to
There you
Coachella.
Oh, that's
go,
amazing.
man.
So
Yeah.
you're going to Coachella. Are you?
Yeah.
Is it for the brand?
For the brand, yeah. No,
Okay.
so I just got back from Miami last week. I mean, it was last Monday, but it feels like, oh my God, last week. And I'm going to LA next week. It
Wow.
just feels like, oh,
Wow, and
That's
that's
a
all
lot.
for the brand. That's a
Yeah.
lot of travel.
It's a lot of travel.
What does your husband? How's the husband feel about
He's
that?
not very happy. I'm not going to, we're doing, we're doing a Beyonce corporate box,
Okay.
which I'm not even going to.
Wow.
Because I'm like, that's a
Wow.
compromise.
Yeah, wow.
So
Yeah.
I know it breaks my heart. But that's probably definitely a tension point right now because we definitely it's a big investment for these brand trips,
For
and
sure,
then
yeah.
for me to go, definitely will get more value out of it. But I
What,
don't
what do you
need to
think?
go.
Yeah.
What is the expectation
what's-
out of
yeah.
the brand trip? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, just brand exposure, or
It's
is it?
exposure? It's like because we're trying to grow in the US, it's US brand activities that you're leveraging off like the trust and brand of the influencers that we're working with.
Yeah.
And then you also building on those relationships. And so that's why it's like really important for me to
Yeah.
be there. And then I think just to get content as well for more exposure.
For sure.
And I do secretly
And you
just
want to
love
go.
it.
You want to go.
You
I was
wanna go as
like,
well.
I was waiting for that. You want to go.
I know. Well, I need to come work out afterwards because every time last time I went for 1 week and I put like 3 kilos.
Yeah.
And now this week I'm like, oh my God. Woo. And like barely, I'm like trying to keep.
Oh, you
not
look great.
burst out of
What are
it.
you talking about? You look great.
But it's like the food there. There's something about the food there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was saying to Aaron actually yesterday, like he needs to go to the US. We're watching this
Yeah.
YouTube video.
I
The
love
US
Miami.
looks insane, but everything's bigger. Like the food is bigger, the buildings are bigger, the roads are bigger.
Supersized,
Like
yeah.
it's crazy. How do you feel about like influencers and like how do you think they contributed to the success of Showpo?
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think we've used influencers poorly in the past.
Okay.
And made all the mistakes where you're kind of like following vanity metrics. Like we were like, people with big following, even though, and they could be a male audience, it could be not a fashion audience, it could be people that have a big following, but it's not a community. And where people actually care about what they buy and what they say and what they do.
Yeah.
We've also just done kind of like the way the collabs are set up. It's kind of just like throwing money out, and it's like, I think not having an understanding of what our brand is and finding the right people to align to that.
Yeah.
So we've made a lot of mistakes, I guess, in that space. And I think we've also missed certain points where I think influencer marketing was more efficient many years ago, and now it's not the same. So it's about how do you, but it's still so big, right?
Absolutely.
I feel like in order to grow a brand, it's social media and influencers.
Yeah.
And then you use like paid media to just boost it. But ultimately, it's just social media influencers. And then, your own content. Also. But yeah, so I think it's about just being able to try and do that well. Like which I think we're starting to.
I'm loving your content. I'm
well.
absolutely loving your
your
content.
content is great.
Oh, thank
Do
you.
you come up with it yourself or?
Yes, a lot of it, not all of it, obviously,
of course,
but
of
I
course.
do
I think
genuinely.
it's great. That's why I'm like,
Yeah, it's so good.
I'm like, I can't come up with anything like that. You know?
Oh, I can think
Like
of
in
that.
high school,
You can.
like in high school, I used to like make skits with camcorders with no audience. Like I just like to
Isn't
enjoy
that
doing
crazy?
it.
That's
Like
amazing.
how like stuff back in the day. Like I used to film myself doing my makeup back in the day. Didn't post it anywhere.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing it on social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this even
How's this
possible?
a thing?
Did you ever
That's a
film
dream.
yourself training
No.
yourself?
I didn't actually. I can't relate.
I remember
no,
thinking, I was such a
trying to
dog,
think.
that like, I remember being, when I was growing up, and I remember because I lived so far away, it was hard to, and I felt so disconnected from like my classmates. And I didn't even know what I was hoping for, but it was literally like years later realizing it was Facebook, like a way to be connected by social media, see where people are, blah, 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 like, and like, I remember being like, oh my God, Facebook's a real thing. What a dream.
Yeah.
That's good, eh? That's good.
Let's go back to your love life and your husband. What's been like your most defining moment of that, like of your relationship together? Because our most defining moment of that is like breaking up.
You said it was a breakup.
It is, but
which
it is because
true.
it's taken us to this new
to this
dynamic.
new dynamic of
which,
like, such a great friendship that not many people would actually be able to have in their
Yeah,
lives.
it's so unique.
Because
It's so great.
you know how people are these days, in and out very quickly. And
like you're lucky
they
I didn't
want
just
something
cut you
from
off
you.
like I usually do.
Yeah, she's like, didn't let it not have closure and just move on too
Yeah,
quick.
exactly. So what's your like biggest moment?
Biggest moment would probably, okay, so just for context, like, we met on an exchange in Sweden. He's from Brisbane, so it's very random. We met a long time ago. Like I was 23, he was 21. And then I was also like kind of leaving a long-term relationship of someone who looks much better on paper, very steady, but also by 23-year-old standards.
Yeah,
That real. No offense. Forget your 23 is mature. In my head, it's just a long time ago. That's all. Anyway, point is, I think my husband then, I was doing Showpo. Things were going really well. He started working at Macquarie Bank and working crazy hours till like 9. Like once he came home at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. and went back to work like at 9 or 10, and we were just like not connecting. And then it kind of, we were butting heads, and I was like, if he was to go out, I'm like, why? Like, why you go out? Who are we going out? Blah, 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 blah. It got, somehow we just had this moment where we clicked and we're like, oh, we're actually on the same team. Like, I was like, I want you to go out and have fun. Like, I don't want, like, I don't, like.
You don't want to hold someone back from doing what they want to do, right?
And I see a lot of like friends or his friends and their partners are kind of like, where are you going? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, don't you want them to have fun? So
You're like, I don't want to be that person.
yeah, we're kind of like being on this. It just somehow when we became on the same team, everything just became easier.
Yeah.
And he, and then I think always like I used to be that, like the person that nags. He definitely nags more than I do now. But yeah, I think it's like there's like just huge mindset shift.
Yeah. How did you know he was the one?
I think that he was capable of change. You wouldn't believe it now because he wears like a black t-shirt every day, the shorts, the thongs, the long hair. And then it gets worse because winter, the Ugg boots come out with the shorts. It's just,
but you like, babe, do your thing. Like, that's up to you.
But I know he's capable of change if I wanted him to. I remember he used to be like, my love language is acts of service and words of affirmation, and he used to never compliment me. And now it's just like he doesn't even. Sometimes he's like, we're on the phone. He's like, I love you, and I'm like, oh, I've already hung up. Like, he's like, and then people are like, he'll walk and he'll like, they'll see our like casual interaction. He's like, hey, beautiful, and they're like, oh my god, that's so sweet. I'm like, I don't even notice anymore because it's just part of his vocabulary, you know.
Yeah. So he worked on himself in order to make the relationship better.
And then we've fought before, and he's like, oh, I realize I'm just like being unnecessary and like. You know, we have a fight and in the moment you want to win, and then he'll come back a few days and be like, okay, I realize I'm being unnecessary antagonistic. I will work on it. Yeah. And I think realizing that he's capable of change. And I think what was crazy was after I realized he was the one that I was committed. I think I had another, when he joined Showpo.
So he works in Showpo as well?
Yeah, he joined in 2018 and we got probably... he proposed probably like a year and a half. I can't do, no, a year, 6 months. I don't know. Sometime after that, but only really. And then when he first started, he was very like, very on the sidelines of the business. And then maybe 6 months after he proposed, we had a few key senior people leave, and we were really working hard on the business together, and it made us actually work together for the first time. And I actually only then realized how smart he was. Wow. And I think that was like by far the smartest person I know, but like I think I didn't realize his level of business acumen. I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. And you know, you don't want to blindly trust someone. But, I knew he was smart. Like, he working at private equity investment bank. But yeah, I was really genuinely, I was like, oh, this is great. Our kids are going to have great genes. I didn't realize before then.
So he stepped away from his job to come. Wow, that's incredible.
And even before that, he worked at Uber in strategy and planning, and like, I think I can say this, took a massive pay cut because he wanted to learn like commercial skills.
Wow, that's incredible.
Such a big move there.
That is a massive move.
Great to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you had to swap lives with him for 1 week.
Absolutely not. He has so much work.
So you wouldn't want to swap with him.
That's the thing. This is why our relationship is great, because his love language is quality time and mine's acts of service.
Yeah.
So if he works with me, he gets to hang out with me, and then in exchange he has to work for free. So it's a
win-win. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah,
I feel like my love language is like all of them.
All of them.
I feel like that. Acts of service. What else? Quality time.
There's affirmations.
Positive affirmations.
Physical touch.
Gifts. All of them. See, I love all of them. Aaron's just like shaking his head over there.
I agree.
If there was one moment like on the internet that you would delete, any come to mind?
Ooh.
I don't know. For me, I would. There was
What, you and your knickers?
Unsuspended. No. They can stay. Unsuspended. Driving an unsuspended license would be mine. You know.
Okay.
I'll
maybe
I'll delete that
that
one. Yeah, I would delete that one because I actually found that when I was actually like, where was I? I was at the Formula One with Mercedes, and then that was not. It literally came out.
Yeah.
Time, and I was like, oh, I hope they don't say that.
Yeah.
But anyways, you?
Me? Probably getting close to getting banned from entering Dubai
That's
again.
Right. Yeah, you had
That's
a bit
probably
of a
something
there.
went viral
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the medias.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I've been back since.
I feel like I've got something.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not that vanilla.
That's all right. It's okay. I feel it's actually a tough question because, there's, like I feel like there's so many things like I could even delete, to be honest. Me
Yeah,
personally.
like even like past
reels,
reels, past
videos,
YouTubes
tags.
that I've done.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Actually, my first time I got PR, this is a bit unrelated. First time ever I've been in a newspaper and it was like page 3 of like the Telegraph. It was
Yeah.
like a full page. So my ex-business partner was married to a politician, ex-politician, now lobbyist. And then we went to this so for her birthday, she wanted to go to this party and then invited two of her friends. And it's like, do you remember the Lost parties? They used to be like,
Oh, yeah.
they used to do these like really cool parties. One was on a train, on an island,
Wow.
or like Cockatoo Island. It's very just like, it's a cool party in
It's
a
like
different
invite
environment.
only, right?
Not
Yeah,
the-
something?
I was
not the
like,
Fire
you have to
Festival,
know
is it?
someone.
No,
It's not like,
Not Fire Festival.
Not Fire
no.
Festival.
but no, they were very organized. But there was this one that was like, and the themes are like
Nice, yeah.
b-boy or circus. Like it's very
Like,
not,
yeah.
risque. And there's one that was a warehouse party that was like, I don't know why it was a bit more like boudoir themed.
Yeah.
And then so we all went, and then it was like, it literally said the love rat. Like it was just like calling him out and being like with these chicks, and like I was positioned as a floozy.
Oh,
You know?
right.
So
So you
yeah.
were pictured in the background.
being like a
Like a
floozy,
fangirl.
like
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
or like a man who's like a love rat, like a bit of a
Right.
player with
Gotcha.
his partner,
With
and
his
then they're
partner.
like
Oh.
floozies,
Right.
like a
Okay, yeah, I
almost
get
like a
what-
concubine floozy kind
Yeah,
of way. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm giving headlines. I want to bring it back.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I've been in the newspaper.
Oh, wow. So it
anyway.
wasn't for like Showpo that you
No.
Well, look, you
I've
don't
got-
want that
and-
deleted.
This is why I have to work really hard to get more PR to bump it out of page
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
So you're doing the
I know
most,
all of
girl.
that.
You're doing the most. So there's something that we do. It's
Yes.
called high, low, Castano. So your high of the week, your low of the week, and Castano is something random, funny, something that just popped up that you're like, that's weird.
I love this. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always do actually ask people like, what's your highlights, lowlights?
It's,
But it's actually hard when you get asked.
I
It
think
is, isn't
I think
it?
it's hard. It's great to actually remember, to be honest. I feel like because we're so busy, we actually lose track of like what is
Yeah.
our high and like what have I felt as my low.
Yeah.
And it's important to reflect. I find I've actually found it very useful talking
Yeah.
about this because it helps me reflect back on especially suffering from imposter syndrome. It helps me reflect back. All right, this was a high moment in my life, and I should be extra happy. Or I was low this week because of this and this.
Yeah.
So it's been good to actually do this.
Yeah. So what's your high?
My high this week, it's actually just driving with my brand girl Gemma and being like, did we do this? I mean, like we just could not remember what we did this week. And being like, did we do this? I'm like, I don't know. What day is it?
Yeah.
So what did I do yesterday? What did we do?
Probably like something to do with the Rachel collaboration.
Oh, yes. I love that collab.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so actually, I think it's just the whole brand thing that we're doing that's really cool. So last week being off the back of the Rachel Castano collaboration, and so she was one of the Bachelor girls, but she was like all over the.
That looks insane.
Yeah.
By the way. Beautiful
We did.
collab.
Like I think it's just like we just had a reporting session today with like everything that we've achieved. Like the Miami, like we were in LA and then we got this opportunity with Unwell to
Oh my God,
activate.
amazing.
They gave us a boat because they were like, come do an event. And then we, in a couple of days, just organized this event with some huge influencers, like people I
Wow.
followed for a while. I'm like, oh my
Jeez.
God, they just all said yes and they're all coming. And like, we had a bag of clothes with us because we can't actually get it from Australia in time.
Yeah.
And so we're like far out, it all worked out and it was so great, so much fun. And rolling into doing a Coachella house. And some of the girls there were people on our like, before we went with Rachel, our other like, other
Like
girls
your
that we're
hit
looking
list,
at, they're
yeah.
actually just coming to our Coachella house.
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
oh my
How
God.
incredible.
good. That's an awesome
That's
high.
incredible.
And because
Yeah.
I think it's a sign of like your brand equity, which I think for a business that's been around for so long to be like, I think it's really hard in fashion to stay relevant after this long. And you look at businesses that, you know, I think just even this last week, Jeans West went into voluntary administration.
Oh, wow.
I hope I got it right. I
Yeah.
don't want to, but and it's like these brands that you grow up with, like every month or someone is dropping like flies because they haven't stayed relevant.
Yeah.
So I know how important it is. So having that makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
amazing. That's an incredible
amazing.
achievement.
Yeah.
Like, all credit to you. Because
Yeah.
you built something
Thank you.
that's so incredible. But yeah, I mean, touching on that, how much is it being or sticking to what you know and also moving with the times? Like, do you sort of throw out the window what you know of a business? Because like we're very like solid in what we know, and we've also dabbled into something new most recently. So it's like, do you just stick with something that you know, stay in your lane, or do you try to
Honestly, I
grow?
constantly battle with this. And it's like, and then if it's not going well, how long do you stick to it?
Yes.
I stick it out. And I think like we've definitely, you know, sometimes you hire professionals, you come in, they say, let's do this. And then you kind of go, okay, well, we've hired this person with more experience. Maybe we should do it. And I think ultimately, whatever you do, you follow your gut, because if you follow your gut and it's wrong, you're like, okay, well, lesson learned. But if you don't follow your gut, that's what keeps you up at night.
True.
So you're like, oh, I should have done that.
true.
Yeah.
That's what you're like, I knew that wouldn't be, you know, the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I just saw another highlight. I know we're doing like B2B highlight, but I thought it was really cool. And it was this publication that there was this, it's just this PR moment. The Sydney Morning Herald called out that guy that we were just talking about, because
Yes.
we did a little rapid fire.
The 3 a.m. guy.
The 3 a.m.
What's
guy.
his name?
And Ash Hall?
Ashton Hall.
Ashton
No.
Yes.
Hall. Ashton
Yeah.
Something.
Hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then so they were writing about him, and then they had underneath a little listicle of other people and their routines, and it's like Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, and like he's like a 3 a.m. person, and then was it Mark Wahlberg, also
Yeah.
a morning person,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then Mel Robbins, also
Yeah.
another morning person, and then it's like
Jane
Jay
Lou.
Lou. First of all, me being on that list with those people,
That's solid,
I'm like,
man.
great, just us. And it's like Jane Lou wakes up at 8:30, splashes water on her face, gets coffee, goes to work, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just like, I love this. Is so on brand.
But that's so cool.
That's
It's
awesome,
not like
man.
any PR, like not a PR doing this or that. It's like this PR moment that is just appreciating me for who I am
And what
I
you
love
do.
it.
That's so cool.
Is it tap water that you splash or expensive water?
No, just
No,
tap
no.
water. He's like got his little
He's
like
got it, I know,
glass
he's got-
bottle.
yeah.
Blah, blah.
He goes
Amazing.
extreme. What about your low? Let's talk about your low.
I think I've had a great week being back with the kids, and I think my low was like sometimes realizing I'm still trying to rush them to go to bed, rush them to do this. There's been like times when I'll go, I like start going on my phone, my computer, and then they go, oh, I'm gonna go on my phone and watch TV. I'm like, oh my god, I feel like such a bad mom. I'm like here for like, this is my full week in between, and I'm not giving my full attention, and I'm trying, but in my head, I'm like, go to bed. To be fair, they had 2 nights when they went to bed after 10.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
"Go." And I'm getting a bit angry,
Yeah.
and I feel really bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
and I'm like, what? You know, I'm like, I'm making them. I want them to go to bed so I can go and answer some person's email. Like, I know that's not right, but I
Yeah.
want to get it done. So, you know,
You're a
Yeah.
busy person, Jane,
Yeah.
as well. You know, it's hard
You
to
are.
kind of, hit all those like things, in
Check
life.
all those boxes. It's so hard.
Like it's hard being a mother, and then running such a successful. It's a hard thing being a partner. It's impossible to target all things and do it at 100%.
At the same time, right?
So
Yeah.
you're only human.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about saying we call it a Castano?
A Castano moment.
Interesting,
of the week.
funny, anything funny?
I
any
think
car
actually
hit?
the funny moment would probably be that article, because then
True.
and
could
that's
call
a
it.
good.
That's a good one.
And then I actually then made a real day in the life. I'm like, here is it
Ah.
actually, and I think I'm like
Nice.
saying this funny moment, me. So there's a moment where it's like the cooking, you know, people do the like cooking
Sounds-
health, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's like, wow, they're cooking this healthy meal for themselves and their kids. What a great mom. And then I showed, and it's like, psych, it's my nanny. It's like, nanny doing that.
It's good.
And I'm
it's
like,
good.
I don't cook.
That's a
I'm
good
like,
one.
yes, I make myself laugh.
Do you want to do yours, Ames? I'm kind of. I'm intrigued to know Amy's. Amy, what is?
Yeah.
What's your
My
high?
low of the week. Well,
I
I'm going to
like- you
start
like- you
low.
like low, eh?
Let's
You'd
start
like to
low
start
so that I
low.
can finish on
Finish
a
on
high.
a-
Yeah, love that. Low of the week. Okay, I struggle to sleep, like very much so.
Me too.
Do you?
Really
What do
badly.
you do for that? Because I've
Do you
read.
get bored?
I get very bored.
So I'm still looking at all these different things.
I'm looking too.
But my best thing that I've got right now is it's a mask that has Bluetooth in it. And I wonder if the Bluetooth is bad for you. That was keeping me up a bit. But then it plays things. It's a blind.
Like white noise
like
through
white
your
noise?
ears.
I
for
listen to
you.
YouTube. So I'll be listening to it's like the state of Canada, like what's happening with the inflation in Canada. And it'll be like, was Brexit.
Wait, so that
like,
helps
why
you
was
sleep.
Brexit? Yeah, because it's like, it's kind of interesting, but not interesting enough to keep you awake.
keep you
Right,
awake.
Or
okay.
like why the Snow White movie bomb, like box office failure. I'm like,
This
yeah.
is good.
It's like not that, or like movie reviews of movies you've watched because you already know the plot lines. So you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, okay.
And then it's like a bedtime story of a movie.
That's a good.
That is
what
like
have you found?
I'm gonna try that.
You're
Okay.
gonna-
So I've been researching a lot of like sleep gummies.
Oh yeah.
I tried this one. I thought it has rave reviews online. Like
Yeah.
everyone is like talking about this product. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing
Like
makes sense.
nothing is working for me. Probably like prescription medication would, but I'm not.
Yeah, you know
It's
what I
I'm
hard
not
mean?
to
going that far.
wean off.
funny,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't
I'm
wanna,
not doing that at
I
all.
fall asleep so easy.
I'm so
yeah.
jealous.
No, but I fall asleep very easily. Staying asleep is what
Oh really?
I don't like. I wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, let's
think
start the
it's-
day now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is it stress related? Because when I was
No.
going through stress, I would wake up at not be able to fall back to sleep.
Yeah, interesting. I just wake up and I start shopping. I bought this at 2 a.m. just so you know.
Hey.
My high for the week. Actually, we have an apparel line. It's just like gym merch, whatever. But we got some new samples. And I really like the samples. So that was like a high.
amazing.
We tried it on. We did like squat tests and stuff, and it looks really good. So that
Love
was my
that.
high of the week. And my Castano of the week. This was actually random because I've as an influencer, you receive a lot of packages, but this and you know where it comes from though. Like you know it comes from a brand. You know that it comes from like PR or something. But this particular package was like elaborate, but I had no idea who it was from. I had no idea how they got my address, nothing. So I was kind of like, thank you, but also who do I say thank you to? Like, yeah, you're just like, how did they get the address? But yeah, I thought that was something random.
Maybe someone who used to work at a PR.
Yeah,
somewhere
people move
else.
around a lot. I feel like Sydney's small like
Yeah.
that, right? So you always, yeah. What's your high-low, Castano, Jono?
I had probably been able to build the furniture that I bought.
Oh, that's right.
Where did you buy it from, Jono?
Oh, that one was I've been like as we spoke about before. I've been smashing Temu.
Temu.
I
Jono
know.
loves
Ah.
Temu.
I've been just just bought the most random stuff on there. So I think my high is actually because I've obviously you know like I've always used Airtasker and I've always kind of pushed things, let people do it. For me to actually go out
Get a
and
sense
build.
of accomplishment.
Yeah, for me to actually go out and do it, I think that's a big thing.
Build
you know?
it for yourself?
Build it for myself.
So was that your high?
That was my high.
Okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's great. Cool. I'm growing.
I thought that was your low.
30
Like
no,
you're
no, that
building
was my-
furniture
no,
for
I
yourself.
was happy that
I'm like the
I
opposite.
built it.
We used to build
was
everything and
cheering.
we were fighting and then we're like, and we're
Let's
like,
just get someone else.
we're like, oh my God. Yes.
I don't know if I built it good though, so I'm waiting
We'll
for
see,
someone
yeah.
just to.
Yeah, if you sit down and
It'll
it
be
like
your low next week.
yeah,
Probably. Who knows? Low. I don't know. I feel like my low this has kind of just been going through like all crazy emotions, to be honest, in terms of like going from feeling motivated to not motivated, feeling lonely. You know what I mean? I think it's just everything that's happening with my life at the moment that I
You
go.
feel a little
Yeah, I
all
feel like
over
a
the
wave.
place.
Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm good and I'm not, and I'm good and I'm not.
What do you think is like
I think like with me, it's like obviously like relationship, work, expectations of people. People think I'm like a robot that I can just kind of do 16 sessions and then all of a sudden be able to do 17 and 18 crazy hours and respond at crazy hours. And I think that's kind of been my load, like just definitely.
Putting in boundaries.
Putting in boundaries, yes. I need to put in boundaries.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I know. Because for me, it's always like work, work, work. And,
and
it's all I know how to do.
You're very much like, well, if I say yes to this one thing, I might as well say yes to the next thing and the next thing and then all of a sudden you've got a full schedule and you're like, shit, how did that happen?
Oh my God. Yeah. So that'd be the low. Interesting or funny moments. Funny moments. Oh, this is a tough one, eh?
It is a tough one.
It's a tough one. I'm trying to find out my funny.
Well, there's a little dog running around at the moment.
Yeah, well,
that's random.
Just
oh my God, that's very random.
Very cute little dog. Oh my God, do you watch The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Where it was like, that man's my exact double. Oh, that dog is a fluffy tail. It's literally like, oh.
It's a very cute dog.
It is.
I guess interesting, I'm probably just obviously moved homes and just seeing everything that I've got. I moved to Potts Point and just it's such an interesting area, like, because I get up at 3 a.m. in the morning and there's
Where were you before?
I was in Double Bay before, double the pay. At 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm going to work, like all wearing my gym gear, and then you see people partying, like literally still partying.
Still
and
out.
like I walk down and because I live in front of I don't want to say where I live because people
don't
probably.
Say that.
Anyways, people still partying. And like still drinking and like off their heads.
Doesn't that just turn
and I found that
off?
super interesting. I'm there in my workout kit and I'm like,
you know those TikToks where people like they're like having a big night and they're in the middle of a marathon? Like that's me. I've left my friends. My friends used to live like on Oxford Street.
Yeah.
And I'm like just leaving when the sun's out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, there's like one of those cities, just not like one of those races. I'm like, there's a fun run. And I'm in the middle of the fun run trying to cross the street.
But I would say, that's definitely my thing. But hey, that's another episode done. And Jane, seriously,
thank you so
thanks
much
for coming on.
us.
We've been waiting for this moment. And like we said, you're doing so great. And, hopefully you've taken as well something from this that you're only human, eh?
Yeah.
Don't be too hard on yourself. You're doing a great job and you inspire me and
you inspire me as well.
Oh, you guys.
So much.
Love chatting with you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on, eh?
Thank you.